just started this year, and especially with the video conferencing, I just plunked around with it yesterday. But Grant, you don't want me to go over how to set up a team, right? Because we're gonna have Moodle for that.
Correct.
Right? So
Yeah.
they don't necessarily need to know how to do that, although it's really,
Correct.
really a good tool because the assignments and how you can turn them in is, to me, really super easy, but that's another thing. So I'll just go over the chatting part. And again, I don't know how this is going to look because all of my kids are set up in a team already, so maybe I'll just try it a little bit for people like some of the teachers to chat with. But up here, what you're going to see, there's a couple ways to chat on Teams. So you have this button right here and this one up here. Either one will get you into the chat room where your kids can chat, and you'll see that my kids have chatted. And they do get a little silly with that. Oh, sorry, to get to Teams, yeah, I suppose I should tell you that too. Okay, so before you even go to the chat button, it's in 365, that's how I go every time. So you just come over here and you just click on it, it'll just open me up again. I'll close this one out.
And if it's not in there, you can just search it like you would search anything in the suite.
Right, and then you'd have to enter your email address, but be careful because when you enter your email address, if you go into the suite and search it, it'll say like J Beckstrom at Hayfield, but it doesn't do .k12.mn.us like that is like Hayfield something. So you have to retype the whole thing because kids weren't able to get in, and then I just realized, oh, it's because it's not giving the last part of the address on that part if you don't go in through 365, okay? So here, this is my 8-hour social. So what I have done, so this is a chat piece of it. So I go up here to new chat, and I can enter anybody's name into here. I don't know if I can enter somebody who is not in team, so I'll just try, Craig, I'll just enter you since you're my mentor, right? And see if you pop up. Yeah, you do, great. So I could then, that's good. So I wasn't sure how that would work or not because, again, I've set up all 7th and 8th graders in Teams. All of the 7th and 8th grade have a Teams account. So,
So if you set up a chat, you would actually put 2 social 8.
well, because I made a group, and I'll show you that in a second.
All right.
So I wasn't sure how this would work to begin with, but I could just type a message then to Craig and say, how are you? Right? And then and then he would go into Teams and he could respond back to that, okay? This is how originally I was thinking about doing attendance because we practiced that yesterday very quickly because it went super, super fast. So here, 8th hour, I had to tell them to hold back on sending stuff because they get really, really silly. So I just had sent, but we're not gonna do that. I just said, hey, just letting them know what's happening. I said one note that said, hey, I'm going to do attendance quickly, just let me know you're here, and they just boom, 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 really quickly, like within 30 seconds. But since we don't have to do that, it doesn't matter, then they get really silly, so. All right, so what I did then is I created groups because that's where I saw it was a lot easier to video conference. Otherwise, you have to type them in, or you can set up a meeting for your complete team as well. I can show you that as well, but this is a really fast way to get them onto a video chat. So again, I just always start right here. And you guys, again, I'm not an expert. I just learned how to do this yesterday, this part of it. So if you click down on this drop box here, it has a group name. Do you see that? There's just a little drop down. And this is where I did then 8th hour social. You can see how I made my own little groups, 6th hour social, 3rd hour social, 8th hour. So if I was going to do just say middle school teachers, that's going to be my name, right? And then I would put in Craig, Sherry, you get the gist of that, right? So I could type in my middle school teachers, this would be my group name, and so now I would have that as my group name, okay? So again, I'll just start off a message here, and I can say hi if we wanted to. I'm just, again, being really over the top with this. However, here, do you see right up here, in this right-hand corner here, there is this is for a video call and just a regular telephone call. And that's where it comes in really quickly to video conference with your students, okay? Right now, this is not lit up on here because I'm not accessible. This does not have a camera on it, this computer. I'm not on my laptop. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. However, I could do just a regular phone call with that, okay? Does that make?
Just audio.
Just audio, yep.
Oh,
Yep. So here, so let me just go here. Let's say I want to All right, so I'm gonna go back here and I'm gonna type in, 7th hour.
You can do an audio call from the computer to a
Yep.
computer, and it's just an audio call. So it's
Okay.
just like you're talking from a phone to a phone on speaker, so you can call others, you can call students.
So here's a group I've made, 7th hour social, just like it did middle school teachers, right? So now it automatically comes up with all the students that are in that, okay? So you'll see that over here right now, there is no little button for me, right, to do a conference call. If I just click down in the type message, then it pops up. Do you see that? So you have to, and I had to play around with that for a long time yesterday. But that was a really fast way then. I can just hit this, and then it should bring them up. Now, it didn't work every single time yesterday. It was slow to react. You know, some kids could get on, some couldn't. I could not get 8th hour at all to show up, but that's because there are 21 students in 8th hour. And if you have over 20, including yourself, because the teacher has to be a part of the group, it will not, I researched this last night, it will not work for a video conference, okay? So that won't work. Okay, I was hoping to show you when you're on the video conference, and so it's pretty interesting because you can, when you're on video conference, and I guess we don't have a way to do that with this computer.
What do you wanna show?
Well, because what you can show then is you can share the document you're working on or talking about.
I'll go in the other room and call you, and I'll show it for you.
Okay, so I had, like, if I'm talking about, like, Thomas Jefferson, and I have a Jefferson PowerPoint, and we're on this video conference, I can do a share, and it's hard when it's not here to show you that because I can't do that on this. I can share that PowerPoint, automatically comes up to all the screens. So every student gets that PowerPoint. And,
From the same computer.
right, and so then and then the kids are being silly and taking control. So you gotta, get that under control right away too. And you can just ask for control back. But just take it back.
So here you go, Brian is
Yep.
asking her to join a meeting right now.
Do you see that?
This
So I'm
could
gonna
be,
join.
this is what it would look like from just a one-on-one perspective. Now, there's Brian's webcam.
So I need to mute, or we need to mute somewhere. I have the kids mute right away on this button here when I'm talking with them, because otherwise you get that ridiculous sound like that. Yeah. I went in the hall yesterday and I know it was working because I went in the hall with the kids there and like touch your head and they touch their head and I'm like.
Okay, I'm gonna assume you can hear me.
Whoa. Yep, you're a little dark,
What
but
I
that's
can
okay.
do, once I'm in a video chat,
A little dark.
I can come over here, this little box will pop up.
We
and I
can't
can
see
click
it.
Share, and now it'll ask me what do I wanna share, and I can share a PowerPoint, for example, and.
He's talking about this
open up
right here.
Yeah.
PowerPoint. So now I can go through this PowerPoint and I can do this
So if
lesson.
you click that share button, just the up arrow or the down arrow, which is right there, you have the ability to share your screen, a PowerPoint, in Excel, any file that you can have open on your computer.
Yep.
I can show my, from my desktop, I can say, show me an application. Any application that I have open, no, let's go to web type like first. I can show a YouTube video. Or any kind of video.
Oh.
Are you seeing the YouTube video in there? Somebody else?
Yep, we are. So, and it opens the files so you can go choose them, right? Because you're like, well, how am I going to get it? So once you do the share, it'll give you all your files that you've recently been in on the bottom, or you can go and find it in your browser with that.
I can come back here and I can, for some reason my applications aren't showing up. No,
But, I mean, you guys, the whole
I
ability
should
here
be
is
able
play
to
around with
share,
it.
I can share Word
Brian and I
documents,
figured this out in about
Excel
an hour
documents, you can
yesterday
share smart
of
notebook
just playing
documents,
around with it.
whatever you
The
have.
biggest thing is if you can click all these icons right here, all right? Those are the icons that really you need to be functionable. The other component, and I don't know if you got into this, is if you hit, Brian, can you hit that button? It'll show the participants on the side here. You have the ability to, all right, there's 19 students along the side here. You have the ability to click a button that says mute all 19
Right.
students.
When they're not muting themselves, because they don't always do it. But
Correct.
that'll also, that button right here, when you click that, that's their chat. So when I was doing all that attendance before, like I'm here, that's what's showing up on the right-hand side. So that's the chat. So if somebody can't get in, because I think we've all done some kind of online learning at some point, and it doesn't always work, right? The video conference season isn't working right. They can still hear you and they can talk via the chat. I said, you're gonna have to let me know if it's not working for you and just chat, and maybe I'll call you later or we can do it at another time. So that's just something, I'm gonna dismiss, I'm gonna hang up from Ryan. So even though you hang up, doesn't mean the students have to hang up. So you can dismiss it, they can keep going and talking, just an FYI. You know, once you're done with it on that aspect of it. So again, it's just kind of right in here, this little new chat button right here. That's where I go all the time. So now, so like I made up that middle school team, so if I start typing in middle school teachers, that group will come up. Does that make sense? So that's just the really quick way to do it. Another way you can do it is calendar and setting up a meeting time. So you can go to calendar. This, I was not very successful in this. You can see I set up a few meetings yesterday.
Yeah, we'll see how this works. Kimber, we have the SPED meeting is set up this way today because Janet's calling in remotely. So we'll see. I'm interested to see how this works.
Right, and so you can just then set up a new meeting here, and you can get all your stuff typed in. Add a channel. For me, I have all these channels. So I already have all these students in my channels. So that's where that becomes pretty easy. I don't know if you can add here. I just wanted to see if I typed in global. Let me just see, first hour here first. If that one group will come up. No, it won't. So you'd have to type them in individually, unfortunately, because I already have this all set up in channels, because that's how I don't use Moodle, so I have to learn Moodle because I use Teams for everything. So
we have to put each kid's name in.
you would have to do that, unless maybe you did, and I'm not 100% on this yet. Up in the chat, there's also like your favorite, your contacts, but that wouldn't come up the same as your group. So I was trying to research last night the difference between contacts and group names, and I wasn't finding a good answer for that. But maybe if you put them in your contacts and then, but that didn't come up for me either when I typed in first, because I have first hour. No, nothing. So
what if you just typed in like global, so like the name of, like a part of the name? Okay.
no, it doesn't take that long. I mean, when it really goes pretty quickly when you start, because the kids will pop up and you'll just click, 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 And maybe you don't need them all either. Maybe there's only a few you need to meet with. And again, if it's over 20, you're gonna have to do half and half. But anyways, you would just set it up at the, like you would a normal meeting, and then just hit save, and then you'll get a little notification that a meeting's taking place.
Jody, if you go to the plus optional on the right there, after would that add a group by chance?
This might be outside attendees, such as things, not within your school district, or people that are out of that, because I know you can do that as well.
You can actually video chat, or you can actually chat with someone else by putting their email address in, and then give them a friendly name, and you can actually video chat in somebody else. If they've got an iPad or something, you could video chat in so that it's not inside our school district.
Right. And here, like, I was not waiting for 15 minutes. A lot of times I change this because I was trying to play around with it with the kids yesterday, so I would have put like 9:20. You can change that, just like, it doesn't have to be exactly those times if you're trying to get in there really quickly like that.
There is a Teams app for anybody who's using an iPad, like you're using an
Yeah.
iPad. There's a Teams app you can use. For those of you who have laptops, you all have webcams in your laptops. For those of you who have desktops, if you're gonna use this from school, let me know. We will order some webcams. I don't have any webcams right now. We'll order and install webcams for those of you that need them.
And students can put an app on their phone for this too.
There's
So that is nice. I mean, that's where it's different than Moodle too, that they can get all, I know we're doing Moodle, but something to think about. Everything, there's an app, and they can get every assignment and every,
If you guys start playing around with this, and this is like what you want to put everything on, I'm not gonna pigeonhole you strictly to Moodle.
yeah, I might just, because my kids are used to using this, and I've already told them, so I might just put them on both at this point, because my kids are used to in my class doing this, and submitting in this, in here, so, with everything. But that's the overall for the video and the chatting piece of it, so.
For the app, is it the Microsoft Teams app?
Mhm.
Okay.
It is, and then, Kayla, do you have anything to
Yeah,
add?
I just
We
looked it
were
up.
trying to set up a meeting with your entire class where you don't wanna
Yeah,
have
I
to
was gonna
type
say,
in all
it's
of those
free.
kids' names. What you're able to do is on the bottom, I think it's the camera one.
Meet now.
You can
Right,
click
this
meet
one?
now and I think it brings up the camera.
Yep.
But it gives you an option to set up a meeting. And what
That's
it does,
another way.
since you're already in your classroom on Teams, it sends that invite to the entire class, so you don't have to individually go through and type the students' names. It's just kind of that little shortcut. I mean, Jody's way works too. This
Right.
is just what I found when I was playing with this with my classes yesterday, to get the kids accustomed to it as well as myself.
Right, you can just hit the meet now. Sometimes that worked for me and sometimes it didn't yesterday. So I don't know where the glitch was on that because
But once you have that group created, you can.
it
go
wouldn't
back.
work on, I didn't know if we needed to have them, this post is almost like a chat. So they could be chatting in here too, instead of going to this chat over here. Does that make sense? This is just, what I read on Teams last night, that this chat is more, you can conform it to what you want and what students you want on there. You know, if you wanted two groups out of one class, you know, out of that. Whereas the post chats, when I'm in my Teams category, and I'm in first hour global here, this will go to everybody who's in that first hour global. I don't have to make a group, I already have this group. However, sometimes I could not get that to work yesterday, and I don't know where the glitch was. I would hit on Meet Now and it didn't go, but when I was reading last night again on it, one of the classes, I did my attendance on here. I said, is everybody here on the posts? And that's the class that worked for the Meet Now. But you didn't do anything like that, did you? So it just came up. So I don't know, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't this way. This is the fastest way to do it. Just hit this camera here. If you have this set up though, you'd have to have your class set up. You know, you'd have to create a new class and a team versus just the group. And then just do a Meet Now. And if it doesn't work, this was my backfall right here, is going here, and I just typed them in again one more time just to have another group.
I would also tell you, if you go on Google and Google using Microsoft Teams in the classroom, and just, there's
yeah.
probably 1,000 videos out there.
And I can send you a link of webinars. I've watched like a gazillion of them.
I watched
And-
probably an hour and a half yesterday.
Yeah, there's some really good ones that I have, and obviously they don't show up here, but I have them saved. And then I had this is, I have this too, and I can print these or just send them to this doc. It's just a quick start guide for Teams if you wanted to learn, but again, that's the whole thing of Teams. That it is, so anyways.
If this does work at all this year for us, we will probably delete all these teams that are in there at the end of this year. Teams has a function called School Data Sync that we can sync with. We can do an export from GNC and create all the teams immediately on the fly.
And they do have a sync with Moodle too. I read that on
Yeah,
one thing
but-
somehow, but I don't know if that's the Moodle that we have. I don't know how that works.
There's
but-
a lot of things that don't sync up real smoothly, but it's not a real easy sync, so I haven't done it because we haven't wanted to use this before. This looks
Yeah.
like something we're gonna use going
It's
forward.
fantastic. Like I have, you can, and I know we need to wrap it up, but like here, you can add extra websites on the top. So my kids, I want them to practice Cetera. So I went and added this on. So this is a mapping thing that they can do. So if it's any type of other website that you want to add for them to work. So when you go here, it'll come up with a list of different apps that you might use in your classroom already that you can add as a tab. Or you can go like I did just to the web and add in my own, which is how I added Cetera. There's a little web icon wherever it might be, I don't know where it is at this point. And then it just adds at the top of the bar here, so then they can just, they don't have to type it in every
Excuse the
time.
interruption, one announcement. Kim will be making lunch today. It will be cheese bread dunkers or salad. If you are interested in having that, please let me know and I will make sure she makes enough. Thank you.
And just one more plug-in for Teams, since I'm up here and I'm plugging in for it. The nice thing about Teams that I think is a little bit different than Moodle too, and I don't know, but like for what have a class that I am an assignment for, and I can put in a Word doc. So here I had this kid, the kids do the War of 1812 web quest. I put in a Word doc in my assignment, I just attach it, it's quite simple, and I'll have to put a student view here in a second for you. I can see when they viewed it, how late they are, and all that. But when I do student view, I just want to show you guys this. I put that in there, the kids can type directly on it, and then they have a button that says turn in.
Oh, dude.
So it turns it into this?
Turns in automatically, and then what happens is then I get this part, because now I'm in student view, I have to go back for a second so you can see. I get this. So what day they turned it in, how late. I didn't give any points. You can give points to it. I just do everything out of 10 points, but you can do that. But you can see how many people turned it in, a day late, viewed it. They never did it, but they viewed it. So,
You can also go into forms and create quizzes.
yep, and I do that. All my quizzes I do on here
And
too, so.
attach it to your class, and then
Yep, I'll
with your
show
quiz, it'll automatically grade it,
Yes, yep.
and it'll
So,
show you what every person gets as a score.
so here's a chapter 5 test I've done. So I went and retyped all the quizzes. It takes a little time, but not, once it's done, it's done. And so what it looks like this, toward independence, chapter 5, and it's all, this is multiple choice. You can do long answers too. You can do those, they're a little bit different. And then you can put it up where they, it shuffles them, right? So students sitting by each other don't have it. And then they will complete their quiz, be done with it, and then I get an automatic grade for them. You can see right here on the side how well they did. It goes very, it's a really nice tool, super.
Kind of sucked to be in social 7 during the old lockdown, huh?
Yeah, I know they. But anyway, so that's just a quick overview of Teams. If you want to know, I know a lot about this part of it more than I do the video chatting, but just
That's
learning it.
fantastic.
If they fill in a worksheet on there, where do you go to like view the work, like say I had to grade the worksheet?
Yep, so let's say I'm going to, so I will just go to the one I know for sure that they just recently did.
Are they able to start and like say they get distracted or they needed to do
Yep,
something
it comes
else?
back, it saves automatically.
Okay, so
Yep.
okay.
So if I go into
What?
Emma Campbell's here, let's see if she actually typed on this. Sometimes they use this as a turn-in too. They want to give me a paper copy and I'm pretty good. Yeah, she did it that way. Let me just go. I'm trying to think somebody for sure who did it on here. Maybe Brianna. I know we got to wrap her up.
No, you're good. I just see a
So
lot
here.
of, well, no, that's fine. I see a lot of interest, but I think we have the potential to maybe potentially schedule a Teams meeting
Sure.
for a secondary Teams introduction later in the week. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to, yeah. So, okay.
I will work with Jody and we'll
My
probably
kids'
schedule that for
interest is
Thursday or
This is friggin'
Friday.
Incredible.
It's a lot easier than Moodle. I've used both this year, and just from what I've explored in the last week on Teams, I like it a lot better. I think the kids are much more comfortable with it as well.
It's a
I
new,
asked the sixth graders, and they said they prefer to use Teams over Moodle because of
the platform, probably just the way
platform.
it
They know how to
works.
use it better.
So I have a list of things. You'll have another daily update today, just like you did yesterday. I will be working on setting a meeting up with Jody leading so we can see her screen and do this
Sure.
more under when you're digesting maybe less things and you maybe have more questions or some other things and you can fully explore it, so.
If you need some technology or technology assistance, please email, call, or text me. Don't worry about the ticketing system. Just get in touch with me directly, okay? We may not be physically in the building for the next week or two, so just call me and we'll come figure out what we're gonna do to take care of you. How many people are actually gonna be working from the building here? I know Craig is. So half of you?
Yeah.
Over half of you, okay.
Once
If you
more.
think you're gonna do the video
I have
chat, shoot me an email if you think you wanna do video chat, if you have a desktop computer, and I will buy a number of webcams, okay? Just let me know. If you wanna do the video chat part, then we'll get webcams.
And then we'll schedule something.
You can, how could we make a video? Okay, when you're doing
Oh, I forgot to say something.
when you're doing a class in this, okay, if you're doing a class in this, you can actually record
I was
it.
just gonna say that. So when
You
you're
can
doing
record
that,
it while you're doing
so you can, when you do the chat, I completely forgot to say that. So when you're doing the chat, the video chat, like the video conferencing, you can hit a record button and that goes into Microsoft Stream, which then you can upload that for other classes or they can go back and look at it again. So you can do that. Or you can attach files like flip classrooms if you do that on PowerPoint for yourself. You can just attach, I send links all the time for them to watch on Teams. Very simple to do.
We also have some, if you need an iPad, you wanna physically record a video,
Oh, I might
and
be
create a
more, yeah.
YouTube channel or something, let me know, we have a few iPads that
Yeah.
we could.
Amazing.
Or if you've got an iPad or an iPhone, you can record video.
And then you could put it on Teams on that, just that
Grant would be the
classroom?
one to talk to about that. Grant probably had 125, 150 classes up when he was teaching science a couple years ago.
Oh,
So
YouTube, yeah.
He had a YouTube channel with over 100 videos on it. And then you can attach those videos to your Teams, you can attach those videos, links in Moodle, and
Right.
create videos of all your stuff too.
And I don't, now that I had separated these out in each class, right? Because classes with the ABC schedule, they have different due dates. But now I suppose we don't have different due dates so much because it's
So
the
if I
same.
upload a PDF, can they write on a PDF or just have to?
They,
Word?
PDF still has to, they have to still go in, because a PDF you really can't write on, right? They have to go download it in this. Right,
now
so they
she
can
do
still
things
do
like
it.
in just a Word document?
But if you have a Word doc form, you can just submit the Word doc form. You don't have to go to a PDF. But you have to, yeah, and I can explain that to you guys after.
Okay.
And I'll,
Craig, I'll make a video and show. I'll do the same thing. I'll make a video and just post to YouTube.